Evening Vantage, hope you're having a good Friday night and a good first week of the holidays. And obviously now normally us girls would be getting ready to go to camp on Sunday and the boys a week later, but we obviously can't this year. So we're going to be doing a virtual kind of camp. So you're going to get camp in a box. So please see our latest post or DM us for more information. But you need to sign up, get your parents to sign up for you to receive a box full of goodies and discussion activities and crafts and things. And then during the week of the 3rd to the 7th, that's for boys and girls, there'll be different videos going up for girls and boys of Bible studies and evening talks and different things that have been pre-recorded for you to follow along with. And there will also be hopefully a safe virtual environment for you to share pictures of some of the things you've done or discuss things with other campers. So we'd love to sort of see you all there and hear how you're getting on with it, so please do sign up. So today we're continuing with our series on encounters with Jesus, and we're going to look at when some children encounter Jesus. So some parents, I imagine, had heard about the amazing power of Jesus, his healing power, and knew that just by Jesus touching their children, laying his hands on them, that he could bless them, he could bring something good for them. And so all these parents brought their children to Jesus. And we're going to find out by reading in a book called Mark, the story of Jesus' life written by a man called Mark. And it's in chapter 10, verses 13 to 16, what happened when they encountered Jesus. It says, the parents kept bringing their little children to Jesus so that he would lay his hands on them and bless them. But the disciples kept rebuking and scolding the people for doing it. When Jesus saw what was happening, he became upset with his disciples and said to them, "Let all the little children come to me and never stop them. Don't you know that God's kingdom exists for such as these? Listen to the truth I speak. Whoever does not open their arms to receive God's kingdom like a teachable child will never enter it." Then he embraced each child, and laying his hands on them, he lovingly blessed each one. So we can see in this that these parents are eager to bring their children to Jesus, but the disciples stopped them. Perhaps they thought Jesus was too busy to bother with children, or that he needed some peace and quiet. Or maybe they thought, oh no, it's adults are more important here, they need to hear Jesus' teachings, children aren't going to understand it, let's get the children away. But they've got it completely wrong, because what Jesus is saying, that we need to be like teachable children to enter God's kingdom, to be part of God's family. Because if you imagine, if you tell a child anything, they'll pretty much believe anything you tell them. They trust an older person's word. And we need to be like that with God's word, with his Bible. We need to not say, oh, I believe this bit, I don't believe that, I'll do this bit, I won't do that bit. And yes, of course, question it, study it, examine it, but trust it, because it's from God. And we need to be like children, just trusting what that grown-up has told them. We need to trust God's word and yes, accept it, just like a child would accept what the adult has told them. So that's the first thing we can take away from this encounter here. The second is that this passage shows us how important children are to God. Having Jesus' attention would have made these children feel so loved and cared for. And those that the disciples thought were of no interest to Jesus were actually central to what Jesus was talking about, his kingdom. The very ones Jesus said were right at the heart of the kingdom. And Jesus will never turn away any that come to him. These children may be a bit cheeky or dirty, disruptive, irritable. We know what children can be like. You've met our little boys on the youth weekend. They're cute, but sometimes they could be a pain. They might be giggling or being miserable, but Jesus welcomed them all the same. And he welcomes us in the same way. No matter what we're like, no matter what we've done or what we believe or where we've been or what we look like, he welcomes all of us. And even though Jesus was really busy with all these adults, he made time for the children, and he wants to make time for us. He gives us his undivided attention. How does it feel? How good does it feel when you know someone's busy but they stop what they're doing and they give you that attention? But equally, how does it feel when we're excluded? Perhaps you know how it feels in school. It happens too much, doesn't it? And growing up, we know people are excluded on a small level, in a form, one person ignored or not invited, but on a big scale as well. Just like these children were considered unimportant and pushed out, far too often on a bigger, wider scale in our society, big groups of people are pushed out, they're marginalised, they're not wanted. Just like people sometimes are excluded for their age, for what their qualifications are, their size, what they look like, their gender. And as we've been seeing far too often, people are excluded and marginalised for the colour of their skin, their race, and thankfully more emphasis is being put on how we should treat people properly. Jesus gives us that perfect example of how we should accept all, on the big scale or on the little scale. It doesn't mean we have to agree with someone that might be being excluded, or believe what they are doing is right or anything like that, but we need to show all love, and we need to accept all and include all and use God's strength to do it. So there's 2 things I want you to take away and do from today. And the first is to write to Jesus. So I like to imagine that Jesus has given these children his undivided attention, maybe listening to their silly stories and things, because God is interested in every single aspect of our lives. And even though he already knows it all, he wants us to tell him. A parent would be aware of most things going on in a child's life, especially when they're younger, but we want them to tell us as parents. And God is the same. He knows what's going on, but he wants to hear it from you. He loves to hear from you. And so write to him. I want you to sit down and write a letter about what you're struggling with, what you're excited about. Just tell him what's been going on, and you'll be surprised at how easy the words start to come as you write. Instead of saying it, when we can sometimes get distracted or our mind can wander, you could even text it out. The second thing then is I want you to think of something you can do or something you could raise awareness for about a group or an individual who are excluded. So it could be on a big scale, like we'll put up some websites. We'll be thinking about children today, so websites to help look after children, and you could raise awareness or even raise money. I've decided I signed myself up for a virtual race to raise money and awareness for Child Rescue Coalition, which tries to help protect children from abuse and ultimately help to stop human trafficking, which is a huge issue at the moment, and it is the World Human Trafficking Day on Thursday the 30th of July, so perhaps you could look into that, or something you could raise awareness for, because slavery still exists in our modern times. So what I'm going to be doing is I have to do, between now and the middle of September, 70,000 steps through not just walking and running, different exercises will count, to raise some money and awareness. So that's on a bigger scale, but you can also do something on a smaller scale. You can there might be that one person you know in your friendship group who's always a little bit on the edge and not included. Can you message them directly? Can you make sure they're included more in your group WhatsApp? Or just something like that, where you have seen that somebody is not included, and follow the example that Jesus set. So I'm just going to pray to close, and don't forget, we hope to see you virtually in camp in a week's time. Father, we thank you so much that you accept us all exactly as we are, no matter our connections or how long we've been following you or how little how much we know about you. You accept us completely, and you're interested in every single aspect of our lives, and you want to give us your full undivided attention, and you want us to make the most of it, Father. And I pray that we would make the most of it, Lord. And I pray as well that we would be individuals and a church and a youth group who are known for looking after the people on the edge of society, the ones who are not included, the ones who are often forgotten about, God, that we would be the example setters in our circumstances. Amen. I never saw